Hello everyone, so this book review is on Ross Armstrong's debut novel, The Watcher. And if you like your crime genres, if you like your Gone Girls, your Girl on the Train, your Claire Macintoshes, then this is very much going to be the type of book that you are looking for. It's got a real Hitchcockian vibe because in it we follow a character called Lily. Lily is a woman who lives in a big tower block in London, and around her are a number of other tower blocks, including some that are marked for demolition. Lily is by trade a bird watcher. She studies the birds and makes notes on them and keeps a diary on them. But increasingly, Lily becomes obsessed with watching the lives of the anonymous figures that live in the tower blocks around her. Bit Rear Window-esque, we know. But of course, what happens is Lily sees an incident. She thinks she sees a woman being killed. And when this then is followed up by the murder of an elderly woman in the block next door and some missing posters for another woman that's gone astray, Lily thinks there is a serial killer in her area and sets out to bring all her notes together to spy on her neighbours and the nearby residents as much as she can to piece together the jigsaw and find out who done it. Great stuff, gripping and very smartly written. Lots of really short chapters, short sentences that really keep that narrative drive and that adrenaline building. So nicely done. So what is the USP? Because of course there's a lot of crime books out there. Well, Lily is an interesting character and that is her USP. There's a red sticker on here that says very much for people who like The Girl on the Train. And that is very true in one key way, because The Girl on the Train is very famous for having an unreliable narrator. Rachel in The Girl on the Train obviously has her blackouts from her binge drinking, which makes her recollections tricky to follow. And similarly, Lily is an unreliable narrator too. This is all written in the first person. This is all almost like journal entries from Lily as she records the activities and the accidents and incidents of her neighbours, much like she would record the migration of birds that she was studying. The only thing is, Lily is not someone you can really rely on. But what's interesting, what makes this different from The Girl on the Train, is that Lily is not a sympathetic character. In Rachel on Girl on the Train, of course, she's very vulnerable and damaged and you want to put your arms around her. But Lily is not a character that you particularly want to get close to. She's very much someone you'd want to keep at arm's distance. She's spiky, she can be mean. She's certainly not particularly great with her boyfriend or partner that she lives with, because as he gets deeper and deeper engrossed in the novel that he's writing, there's Lily flirting and making out with some of the neighbours. Surely this is not the behaviour of someone you want to be sympathetic with. But Ross Armstrong's writing really draws you into this complicated world. So from that, it has all the hallmarks of a great crime book. Are there some challenges? Yes, of course. It's very difficult when your main character is as unsympathetic as Lily is. It can be quite difficult to be wholly on her side. But because the narrative drive is so strong in this book, you actually keep going with Lily and you do end up being intrigued in the puzzle that she's found herself immersed in. I did come to the end of the book and sort of sit back and think this was in very clever writing. This was very brave writing to write about someone so unlikable and to be completely immersed in their mind, especially when you've got to question how much can you rely on that she is saying. My only anxiety from this as I sit back and think about it is there a plot hole in this book? Because that's the thing with unreliable narrators. You find yourself questioning, well, what can I believe? And of course that's really exciting and really intriguing. But one of the things I find back as I recollect on this book is, do all the pieces fall into place? You know how at the end of The Usual Suspects and Kaiser Soze is supposedly revealed and you just think, oh, no wait, did that, so that didn't, oh, so he did. And you find yourself puzzling as your brain quickly tries to filter in and put everything back in actually the correct order and not the order that you think. Of course, that's what The Watcher is trying to do. The question is, does it fully manage it? I would argue there's still a little bit of a, I'm not quite sure that bit fit. That bit is particularly to do with placing Lily with some of her neighbours. That's quite tricky because you're not sure what her relationship is with some of the people that she's supposedly friends with. You're not quite sure how that friendship came about. But That's very much at the beginning, and if you let that go, this book has much to reward you, because I really applaud bravery and taking a risk with writing, and particularly in the crime genre, which is so popular and has so many books coming out. You sort of think, well, you know, what can you bring to the table that's new? And I particularly liked the risk that Ross Armstrong took with Lily as a character. At times in the beginning, until you start piecing it together, she does seem infantile. You do start to think, is this someone I want to get on board with? But as it all starts to fall into place, you realize how brave and how smart this writing is. So for me, I actually enjoyed more about this book than picking holes in it. So I'm going to let that go and think, I really enjoyed The Watch actually by Ross Armstrong. It has a lot going for it, and it's very brave writing, and I think in the crime genre we've got to really applaud brave writing, because otherwise it gets all a bit samey. So this is great stuff, The Watcher by Ross Armstrong.